Okay, it's the last day of Romford Film Festival. We've just had a fantastic programme of shorts, and we've got some of the filmmakers with us. Would you like to just introduce yourself, your roles on the film and the name of the film that we just saw starting here, please?
I'm Michael. I was the writer of In This Moment.
My name is Oleksiy. I was the director of Your Special Day.
Omri, I'm the DP, writer-director of Your Special Day.
Jack Peter Mundy, I directed and wrote Romford.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's, easy first question. Where did the concept for your films, each of you, come from? Do you want to start with it?
Yeah, well, we took a lot of inspiration from like normal people and films like Past Lives.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to, I guess, have like a film where there's more like honest and helpful communication between the characters, because like with romance films and things like that, it's very common for it to be like, flamboyant and unrealistic kind of dialogue. It's not things that real people would actually say and how they deal with that situation.
Okay.
So we wanted a film that sort of realistically depicted romance and how those things don't always go as you'd intend it to.
Mm. And how did you do that? How did you approach that, like that sort of realistic dialogue?
It was a lot of, we try and draw from past experiences where we can,
Okay.
and things we wished we'd said maybe, how we wished certain situations had gone down.
Yeah.
But I think just trying to put yourself in that situation, think, is that something I would actually say or bring myself to say, is the way.
Right, rather than what a film character might say.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's interesting, yeah. How about yourselves, you two?
Well, yeah, Your Special Day came from basically walking around Queen's Park, where I live, and there were dedications to loved ones on those benches.
Yeah.
So an idea came to mind where there's this character of an old widower, basically, that go and visit his beloved bench, where there's a dedication of her. They used to sit there together.
Yeah.
And that's actually my dad in the film.
Okay.
My dad's an actor, and he came especially to London to film that little project of ours. It was filmed in Queen's Park, where I do the travels, and the picture there at the end of the film on the bench is my grandmother. And the film is dedicated to my grandmother, my father's father. And that was the idea, actually. I keep coming back to the same bench, and really close to that bench, sorry, it's a little sad. There was a kid, I think, that passed away like 2 years ago, I think, and every year, really close to April recently, there's like flowers there and cards and all sorts. So it's just an idea that came to mind because of that sort of like gesture that family do to their loved ones.
Gone but Forgotten was original idea to be a feature film or a series. And we thought, well, we don't really have enough money to make a feature film or a series, so we'll just explore the first part of that film. So we wanted to introduce the characters. And it was all about dealing with loss and how people deal with loss. Was the sort of origination of the story. And then the relationship between the son and Danny was kind of a secondary element. It was never supposed to be, a gay romance or a gay story. It just happened to be that they were gay. It wasn't sort of an intrinsic part. It was all about the relationship between the two brothers, more importantly. Yeah. And it was just a way of sort of exploring that. And it was kind of semi-autobiographical. I haven't lost a brother. I don't even have a brother, to be fair. But all of the elements in there are sort of elements of my childhood. We filmed at my old school. We filmed around my house, my old house where I grew up. So it's all sort of elements of my childhood that I just really wanted to explore. And then it just explored this dynamic between the two brothers. And how the brother and the loss of the brother actually helps him sort of find his way through this new relationship.
Filmmakers are often very critical people, and there may be things that you see up on a big screen like this one, or the sound in a cinema that you don't like, but we're going to forget that. Let's talk about your favourite moment when you see it up on a big screen. Is there a moment that you're all really proud of?
For me it's the very last scene at school. It's when Callum, after he's put his jacket around Julie, and he says, you saw in yourself what I've always seen in you, when he's talking about her born with victory. I just thought that was a really lovely way to sort of show such an unselfish kind of love, which is obviously what everybody, I would imagine, aspires to try and achieve throughout their life. They want that sort of pure and unselfish love, which we thought was sort of very nicely symbolic of first love in that way. It's sort of so like pure and idealized in your head that you don't. It's not necessarily the most realistic type of love, but for the time, that's what you know love to be like.
Yeah.
So I really like that moment. I thought it was a very nice moment between the two of them.
Yeah. How about you two?
This is the first time we saw the film on the big screen, and it's
Okay.
always great to see the film that you made on the big screen. And I noticed how good the sound mixing is, because you don't see that on the laptop or
sure,
the speakers. And here it's like, oh wow, this is great, which is like Omri here.
Right.
It really worked, and that was the first time. It's like we knew it was working. I knew it was working, but here I saw it like really works. Which is congrats on the mixing.
Thanks. I love the balloon part, when he comes with the balloon back to the bench, and there's one of the shots that we filmed underneath when you see his face smiling the first time. The balloon, the purple balloon is the back.
I think it is really nice seeing on a big screen, which makes a difference. I say watching it on your computer at home is sort of very different from watching it with an audience in a bigger screen. I think I do really like the scene with the brothers. It's always been my favourite scene. It was shot so quickly, and it was so chaotic, and I'm just always surprised that it actually kind of even makes sense, let alone actually hits and resonates with sort of, I mean, they actually are real brothers, which kind of helps. Right. I think Toby has a long history of acting. He's been Black Mirror and the Break, I think. Whatever it's, can't remember. But anyway, it was his younger brother has very little experience of acting, so sort of seeing their dynamic and seeing how they supported each other through that scene, because it was so chaotic to film, to then actually see it released sort of at fruition on camera, on screen, was really nice, because it actually sort of did pay off, I think. Although you always, as I say, I would be way more critical of everything else. There's so many other things I'd like to change, but as I say, focusing on a positive, that's one of the positives.
That's what it's about. Let's stay with you on the end, Jack. What's one tip you would give yourself? One thing you learned from this film, maybe. That you
so many things I learned from this film. Don't do too much. Don't start off with a big film and then try and make it smaller. I think that's kind of. I think if I come to do a new short film, I think finding a sort of a unique small concept that you can do really, really well, sort of a unique gem of an idea, and then explore that idea.
Right.
At the same time, I don't apologise for being ambitious. I wanted to try and put as many different things. I wanted to work. We worked with Ali Farani, who was his short film back in 2017 won the Oscar. So it looks amazing, and I really wanted to sort of elevate what cameras we were shooting with, the sound, having extras in films. That's kind of a new element for us.
Right.
So one day we turning up on set and there being 60 people all looking at me wanting to know what to do. I'm like, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of pressure. Yeah. So pushing yourself to do something that was kind of on paper, when you're writing it, that's easy. There's people chatting in a room, and then you've got all these people. It's a lot. Yeah. But I think just maybe trying to sort of focus on. I'd like to spend more time with the actors rehearsing. I'd like to have done more rehearsals. I think would probably be the one thing I've done. But we were working with half-term times. So again, you sort of work with kids. You think, okay, well, just that's fine. And then the mums go, well, the half-term is here, so you have to shoot here. And it's like, okay. Now it's definitive. We have less time to do it. Yeah, rehearsal will be good.
How about you two?
Prep.
Yeah.
Prep. And check the weather.
I was going to say, did you have any problems with the weather or anything like that?
We had to. We were filming tomorrow, and then in the morning we're like, no, we're filming tomorrow, because the sun was it was just wrong. But yeah.
In terms of cinematography, I think we did some great choices, and I learned a lot with the process of tapping into the world of being consistent with the look of the film, which is something that I really enjoyed, and I actually like the challenges. I like working outdoors, filming outdoors, and the challenge of unpredictable sun and different conditions, and understanding how the camera reacts and the lenses react, filters. The shape of light, the use of silhouettes and contrast and color, which is something that I managed to explore. It was quite a hasty project. It was quite a quick turnaround. It was done in a day. So we were rushing to do everything in a day. So that was also a challenge in terms of timings and everything. But anything that I would do differently, I will agree with the prep. It's always fun to have more time and rehearse a little bit more, talk about the story a little bit more, do a little bit more scouting. It's always good to have more time. I think. Yeah, that's the only thing.
Anything you learnt from this that you'll take forwards?
Yeah, I mean, following on from what they said, prep is obviously super important. Like, I remember when we got to the shoot on the very first day in the school, we had our location like already prepped and we'd already sound tested it and it was going to be perfect. And there was just this huge like work crew there, and we're like, oh, what's going on? And they went, oh, sorry guys, we're going to be putting up like security cameras like all day, so you can't shoot here. Okay. So we were running around trying to find this new spot in the school, and we managed to find one, but for some reason, this particular spot in the school, we were just being absolutely tormented by seagulls like the entire day. Every like us, our poor Sandy Reese. At one point, we looked over and we went, "Are you okay, Reese?" Right. And he went, "Every single take, you can just hear from the seagulls just skittering across." Yeah. But from a script standpoint, it was actually from our lead actor Gabe, who played Callum. He told me in one of our first meetings. There's a lot of lines in that film where it's like they don't actually say the line, it's just like left, sort of, the things they left unsaid. And he said, well, I need to know what I'm not saying so I can actually portray that, because he's like, so many times when I get a script, they'll be like, oh, the sound's just going to fade out here, so just like pretend you're shouting about something. Right. And he goes, that is nothing for me to work with. I need to know what I'm at least supposed to be shouting about. Okay. Even if I'm not saying it, I need to know what to say. Yeah.
Did anyone from the audience have a question at this point? Put your hand up. Yep, here.
Of all the things you did, Jack.
Hello, Deborah.
What would you say is the thing that you are most proud of, given the challenges you had to achieve it?
There was one scene. It's a good question. I didn't plan that with you or anything. There was one scene, and I don't know if you know, but the scene where the boys are talking out by the door. We had an issue with rain. It literally such a downpour. You couldn't tell, obviously, because we came back and did pickups 3 times. Right. So that scene with just 2 boys talking on a doorstep is actually shot over 3 days, over 4 months. With different haircuts, different costumes, and we're trying to sort of make it work. And I'm just amazed that it actually reads as an actual whole scene. And I'm so pleased with that scene as well. That's another scene I'm really proud of. Yeah. But yeah, just the chaos, because we literally had enough time because of the rain. The whole crew is standing under like an easy up, going, oh my god, it's. And we had one just take with the 2 boys talking, and the whole conversation was probably maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Right. But we had no way of cutting that. You had to have the whole scene or had nothing. And so I had to go back and do pickups to be able to just to shorten the scene so it actually just is a bit snappier, that they're not standing on the doorstep talking forever, that they get to the little kiss on the cheek and it actually sort of resonates. And so that's definitely a learning curve as well. Plan for weather. Shoot inside.
And seagulls. Yeah. Weather and seagulls. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Chris?
Because we had a lot of childhood and nostalgia in that strand, what children's TV programme would you most like to have filmed as a feature from your own childhood? So this is for everyone.
Does anyone else have an answer? I was thinking about that.
I mean, so does it have to be TV programmes or any nostalgia?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, we mentioned the Goonies, and there's a reason why we mentioned the Goonies, because I love the Goonies so much. I would absolutely love to have been part of that production, or to have written such it just seems to me, and I don't know, this is probably pure nostalgia, purely living in my own head as I was when I was 5 or 10, was just being on a film that felt like a proper adventure, like the kids sort of going off on their adventure. I don't think anything's really captured that in the last, and I don't know if that's because I'm not a child, but I genuinely don't think any films nowadays really have that sort of magic. No. And I think, I think Richard Donner did an amazing job with that film. It's just such an iconic film. Love it so much. Love to have shot that.
Anyone else got an answer?
So do you know the Mumins?
Yes.
So the animation, the cartoon. I grew up watching this, and I know it's based on books. I think she's Finnish or Swedish writer that also did the animation, the original drawings. Yeah. And I think she based the story and the universe of the Mumins on history, past World War II or something. And I would love to do a realistic live action a recreation or adaptation to the humans, but played by real characters. Yeah, that sounds interesting project to me.
So many. How much time do you have? Rugrats? I don't know. Anyone? Hey Arnold. Man, so many. There's this one about the mice. It's a very famous novel that they like sort of live in a castle and they Redwall. Oh my God, Redwall. I can hear the music in my head. The TV show, the animation. I don't know. I think it's French. Argyle. Probably no one knows this one. French as well. It's like animals talking, future, past, spaceships, magic. It's insane, but a lot.
Yeah, I mean, now you've mentioned Redwall, incredible shout. But
Seen it?
yeah,
Yes.
I love Redwall. It's so good. There was this movie that I used to watch as a kid. I think it was like a Disney movie called Treasure Planet. It was like an adaptation of Treasure Island, but the whole thing was like in space.
Yes.
And it was like, yeah. And it was like one of the last 2D animated films that got made before like 3D CGI became like really prominent. And I miss like 2D animated movies so much. They're so stylish and they're so charming. So I'd love to bring that back and also just do like a really outrageous and just super fun sci-fi movie that's just like unabashedly just fun and you know, kind of goofy and just doesn't take itself too seriously, you know.
I still listen to the music from the Treasure Planet.
It's so good, isn't it?
Probably last week I listened to it. Yeah.
Some good recommendations there. Did anyone else have a question? Oh, right at the back. Yep.
That's the wrong way.
Saving his voice, no.
I was going to ask Jack, so if you kind of started as like a series of stuff, is it something that you might develop with your characters in the future, which also is a segue into what are you more up to next?
Yeah, so the original film isn't kind of, sort of doesn't have the same tone as that. It's basically a what's happened to the brother story. So it's sort of a whodunit journey. And the way that I wrote it originally was that it was a series. So the first day is the Friday, then you've got the Saturday, the Sunday, the Monday, the Tuesday, Wednesday. 6-part series or 5-part series. So this is obviously day one and a little bit of day two. And yes, it was. I mean, we shot so much. I mean, the other thing is editing is so hard when you love every single shot and everything is amazing and you know how much it cost. And so you're like, okay, everything has to be in it. So the original cut was like 40 minutes. Right. So there's a lot that was in there that probably made up the first part of made up an episode almost, which was kind of the original idea. So we kind of shot it as a pilot short film. You try and do a lot of things, and I'd love to develop that. I mean, it's written as a full script. We'd love to be able to sort of, you know, explore these characters, and yeah, find out exactly what happened to the brother, which is kind of the main. There's an ending that has even more of a cliffhanger, actually, which was considered a bit dark for film festivals, so I won't spoil that. But yeah, that would be wonderful. But at the moment, I think my next project, or one of my next projects, is one with Deborah. I'm also a director of photography, so Deborah's a director, and I've worked a couple of times with her. And also developing a film based on the elements of this, but sort of like a beach rats type film. Okay, yeah. Sort of like a gritty, sort of coming of age, sort of elements of this, but just sort of less polished, a little bit more gritty.
Okay. Let's add to that question then, so next project for all of you, but just a bit of a fun kind of add-on to that. If you could cast anyone in your film, in your next project that you've got in the can coming up, who would you cast?
Well,
do you want to finish off your...
Well, I said Harris Dickinson because I was obviously I think the Beach Rats is such an amazing film, and I think it was his breakout role. I think he's an amazing actor. I'd love to cast him in something. I don't know what that'd be, but anything. He's such a good actor.
Florence Pugh.
Okay.
I would just make movies and just put Florence Pugh in it.
I love that. Yeah. I love Tom Hardy. I think I would love to film Tom Hardy in the future.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got anything written, you two? Have got a next project?
We have some things in development, I think. Mm-hmm. As a duo again, I think, because we really enjoyed that collaboration, so we want to create more. Mm-hmm. It's something that you always aspire for, to creating with the same people again, and because it works, so why not? I have a short that I just worked on called Carrot Cake. We'll be screening the Curzon Soho beginning of July. Father-daughter relationship, and there's a big music video that I'm going to produce and film as well in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I've got probably 100 scripts I'm chiseling away all the time, but my next project when I first started filmmaking, it was with stop motion animation when I was like a little kid.
Okay.
So I wanted to do like just a complete 180 from what I've just done and go back to animation and do like a sort of I'm working on like a dark fairy tale kind of animation. There's when they remade like the Candyman movies or did like the spiritual sequel whatever a few years ago, there was this one really cool trailer where they did it with like shadow puppets, but they were like they were still on strings, but it was like all silhouetted and stuff, and I thought that was such a cool visual that I really wanted to try and come back to animation but do something super like random and like not experimental exactly, but just really out there and challenging, I guess. But for actor, I'm going to have to go with Paul Mescal, because he was obviously the inspiration for Callum and everything. But I just think he's absolutely incredible in everything. He's so good.
That's all we've got time for, but thank you very much for submitting your film to the festival and being here to screen them with us. And
Thank you.
Answer the questions. Can I have a round of applause, please, for our three filmmakers?